Theme song. I'm all right. Everybody check out our podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Our Dads, Our Brothers, a TV and movie review podcast. I'm Nathan Tracy along with my co-host.
I'm Bat Tracy. And today we are diving into the topic, the wide world of movie sequels, but only number twos.
I think this is going to be my second favorite episode yet. All right, what are you watching lately?
Well, I can't continue on Reba, and I'm done with Better Off Ted, so I've moved on to Everybody Loves Raymond. I'm already on season 3.
Very cool.
I've been watching it for like 3 days, so it's like a season a day.
I'm still hanging out with friends.
Are you excited for Joey?
Yeah, a little bit. We'll see.
Joey went for 2 seasons.
In Joey, is he Joey Tribbiani still?
Yeah. He moved to Hollywood.
Nice.
He moved to California to like be a serious actor because I think in Friends they live in New York, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so he moved to the other coast and he was like, I'm going to take acting seriously. And then he lives with like his sister and her weird son.
Oh, cool. Should we do some birthdays?
I was waiting for you to ask.
Perfect. So today's May 5th. We got
May the 5th be with you. It's Revenge of the 5th.
There you go. So we got John Rhys Davies, Clark Duke, Henry Cavill, Sage Stallone, and Adele. R.I.P. to Sage Stallone.
I would choose to highlight Clark Duke.
Okay.
I have some interesting things I could say about him.
Well, today he is 37 years old, born in Glenwood, Arkansas. And I have a fun fact for you if you're ready.
I am so ready.
He was raised Baptist. And later on, he had a cameo in a Kid Cudi video. Do you know that video?
Which one?
Erase Me.
Ah, that's actually my favorite Kid Cudi song. Well, did you know that along with Michael Cera, him and Clark Duke, they created Clark and Michael together. It was a web series in 2006. I actually remember watching it as a kid.
Very cool. Yeah, they're best friends.
They are. Yeah. And because of that, he went on to have a starring role in the ABC Family series Greek, which was a series I also really liked. And our Aunt Sherry also really liked that show. Just a fun fact for you.
Yeah, I've only seen a few clips here and there, and I was always with our aunt. So yeah, that makes
sense. It was a good one. And then he obviously he's one of the core cast members from Hot Tub Time Machine, both of those. And he also joined The Office, the hit series The Office, for season 9.
Very cool. Yeah, I feel like if you showed him a picture to somebody, they'd be like, "Oh, Hot Tub Time Machine guy, gotcha."
Yeah, he's also in the Kick-Ass movies, but I didn't put those.
Should we get right into it?
I would love to dive right in. We're talking about sequels, but only the number twos.
So you'll see there's a few animated on this list, and for me, it's so much easier to catch up on animated movies having a child.
Animated movies are typically a lot shorter. I think this one's like 80 minutes.
Yeah, I flew through it. I was like, It's over? What? So the first one is Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Came out in 1998. And you did want to go over the directors, whether it was a change or not. And this one was a change.
Who are the directors?
Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff for the first one.
All right.
And Dale Rooney for the second one.
Nice. So they had a swap.
They did.
The second one was a direct-to-video sequel, so it was released strictly to VHS and then later DVD. It was not theatrical.
Yeah, and most of the cast did come back. Rowan Atkinson did not. They revoiced the Zazu.
He was big time doing Mr. Bean at that time.
He was off doing big things.
I think actually he was doing the Bean the movie because I think that came out in 1997, so he's probably working on it at the same time. I don't know that for sure, but
yeah, so I thought this was a good one. I'm sure people have seen it or at least know that it's about lions. I thought the ending was a little interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different in the lion world, but Simba's daughter and Scar's son, they're family members, and they were rubbing all up on each other. They looked like they were about to have a good time.
Yeah. I just watched this recently, actually, as well, maybe a month ago. I finished it and was like, wait, so is The Lion King 2 about incest?
Yeah, I literally was watching the whole thing. I was like, good movie, it's all right. And then I got to the ending and I was on my phone and whatnot the whole time occasionally. And then I looked up and I was like, wait. I literally had to pull up my phone and be like, who's this again? I looked up the boy and I'm like, yeah, that's Scar's son. Okay.
It gives new meaning to Simba's pride.
I brought it up to my wife and she said maybe it's different in the lion world. Maybe
I
it is.
I guess, but we still weird.
I don't have a lot to say about Lion King 2. I mean,
it is a good sequel.
A good sequel, but nowhere near as good as the original.
Oh no, but
nowhere near.
If you watch a lot of the Disney direct-to-video sequels that they did, like Little Mermaid, think of any movie. They did The Hunchback of Notre Dame too.
They did everything.
Everything. This is one of the best that you will find. This is a really good movie, I think. It's just the first one's amazing. Off topic, but have you seen The Lion King 1.5?
Yes, it is absolutely
spectacular. Hilarious. Spectacular movie. I think
great.
This is, if you look at the Lion King trilogy, it's a pretty solid trilogy as a whole.
All right, let's move on to the next one. What do we have there for you? Looks like Caddyshack 2.
Caddyshack 2. Caddyshack, as most people know, pretty popular movie. Got Rodney Dangerfield, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray.
Yep.
The second one has none of those people, except Chevy Chase. He has a small bit cameo in one scene, but other than that, it's a completely revamped cast. And this one had a different director as well, because the original was directed by Harold Ramis, and this one was directed by Alan Arkush. And I just watched this movie in preparation for this, and not very good at all.
Really?
Yeah. There's two actors in this movie, Dan Aykroyd and Randy Quaid, and I enjoy both of them as actors. Randy Quaid, not great anymore, but that's neither here nor there. Dan Aykroyd, spectacular actor. He's a great guy. They both are in this movie trying to do Bill Murray's part from the original, and they just don't live up to it, and it's sad.
Yeah, that is sad. So I did see that the small role you mentioned that Chevy Chase came back for, he was still paid a 7-figure sum to replace that little cameo.
Oh, I can believe.
They were talked into it, like they said yes to Rodney Dangerfield for like 35 million, and then
35 million? No way. That's insane. That sounds like the full budget.
No, he made $35,000.
Okay. That is a hilarious.
For Caddyshack. And then he asked for $7 million. They agreed to his demands and paid Chevy Chase a 7-figure sum.
That is just wild to me.
All right, let's move on to the next one. It looks like we're looking at Hot Shots 2. Sorry, Part 2.
Part 2. Yes.
Came out the year I was born, 1993.
That is an interesting fact. I was not born yet. Did you know that?
Were you even a thought yet?
Did you, at the time you were born, did you know that I was not born yet?
I might have sensed it. No. Who's this directed by?
This one is directed by Jim Abrams, or Abrahams. I don't know how you would pronounce that, but he also directed the first one. It's Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, the two brothers. This movie also united John Cryer and Charlie Sheen for the first time.
Very cool.
And they would go on to do Two and a Half Men. The first Hot Shots, pretty good. It's a good parody movie. It's a parody of Top Gun, mostly.
Yeah, I like that one.
Hot Shots Part 2 is more of a parody of like Rambo and silly action movies of the 80s.
Sure.
It's a lot of fun. I think this is a good sequel. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but I do really enjoy this one.
Yeah, I'll be honest, some of the sequels from like 80s, 90s, I haven't really seen. Like Hot Shots, seen it. But we're not here talking about the first one, we're talking about the second one. So you said overall good?
I think so. I think it is a fun sequel because they change it, but it's more, it's still in line with the first one, even though it's a radical change.
Sure. I mean, that's the thing with spoof movies. It doesn't need to like follow the storyline or anything.
Yeah.
So
you can do anything.
Perfect.
Rolling on to the next one, or I should say cruising on to the next one. We got Speed 2 Cruise Control from 1997, directed by Jean Desbont, who also directed the first one.
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is sadly not in this one.
I'm out.
It was Jason Patric.
I don't know who that is, but Keanu, why not? Where's Keanu?
He just turned it down to go do something else because he was like, well, I already did Speed. Why should I do a second one?
Actually, I respect that. Especially look at his career now. Like if he did Speed 2, he would have like gone on to do Speed 3 and 4. And
I don't think so, because Sandra Bullock did Speed 2 and she's fine. Have you seen Speed, the original Speed?
Yes. For what it is one of my favorite movies.
It's very
good. It's not one of my favorite movies of all time, but for that category, It's right up there.
It's a great movie. Speed 2. Instead of taking on a place on a bus, you may be wondering, what is Speed 2? Cruise control. It's on a boat. Yes, that's right. They're on a yacht. Not very interesting. It's not as interesting as watching a bus.
If they go under 55 knots, it blows up?
I don't remember why it's called cruise control.
I actually don't know. Is 55 knots really fast or really slow?
I have no clue. I don't know boat speeds. I have a running joke with my family where anytime I mention a sequel, I always put cruise control as the subtitle of the movie.
Nice.
And I have an interesting bat fact for you about this movie. On Rotten Tomatoes, can you guess what the first Speed has? The critic score.
I think they gave it like a 72.
Speed has a 94%.
Okay.
Speed 2, cruise control. Can you take a shot at what it has on Rotten Tomatoes?
12.
It has a 4%. So it is a whole 90% drop in quality from the first.
That's what'll happen when Keanu dips out.
Yeah, but it's wild because it's the same guy who made both of them.
I just think the world wasn't ready.
Probably not. Willem Dafoe's the bad guy in Speed 2 also. I did not mention that.
So the next one we're looking at Cheaper by the Dozen 2. And it looks like it had a change in director. Went from Sean Levy to Adam Shankman. The same cast, just add in Eugene Levy for the most part, right?
Yeah. And then whoever's in his family.
Right. But yeah, so all the kids, at least most of the kids. It's hard to keep track of 12 kids. I know Hilary Duff came back and
Tom Welling was one of them.
Tom Welling, yeah.
Allison Stoner was one of the daughters of Steve Martin.
I think that's the 3 people might know.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting director choice or change because Adam Shankman, I don't recognize his name. I'm sure I've seen other things that he's directed, but Sean Levy, he's gone on to direct just massive things so far. He did the Night at the Museum trilogy, and then he also directed Free Guy recently with Ryan Reynolds in it.
Adam Shankman.
I was literally just going to look up his movies. Read them off to me. Read me his filmography.
The Pacifier with Vin Diesel.
I've seen that.
Was a good one. Hairspray.
I've seen that.
He actually acted in Hairspray as well. A small role, I believe. Bedtime Stories. Rock of Ages.
I've seen that.
What Men Want.
I've seen that. All right, I guess I've seen everything you mentioned. So
well, then I might as well keep going. The Wedding Planner.
I have not seen that.
A Walk to Remember.
I have not seen that.
Bringing Down the House.
I've seen that. I actually saw Cheaper by the Dozen 2 in theaters.
How was it?
It's fine.
Because I vaguely remember. I was 12, I believe.
Oh, you know what? I just remembered another cast member from it. It's got Jonathan Bennett. He was also Bo Duke in Dukes of Hazzard: The Beginning, the prequel movie.
No, I don't know why. Is that an additional cast member? Is that who you're mentioning?
Yeah, he's the husband of like Steve Martin's oldest daughter who gives birth in that movie.
Okay.
He actually takes the place of Ashton Kutcher. And you remember his bit in the first movie?
No.
He's the oldest daughter's boyfriend in the first movie, and then by the second movie, she's with a different guy who she's married, and they're having a baby.
Gotcha. All right, moving on to 2006. What movie are we talking about here?
Clerks 2 from Kevin Smith, the sequel to Clerks, 12 years after the original.
I would hope it's a sequel.
It definitely is. Love this movie. It's honestly, I think, my favorite Kevin Smith movie he's ever directed. I just think it is a wonderful, delightful little film, and it is so raunchy. I would never watch this with our grandma.
And we watched some raunchy things with our grandma.
Very raunchy. And this one is no bueno, I think. I actually like this one more than original Clerks, original recipe Clerks, if you will. I think this one's better. It's more interesting. It's funnier. And I just love the dynamic of the characters, especially with Elias, who gets added as a character in this, which I don't know if you've seen the Clerks movies.
I have not.
They are very, very good. You should put that on your list of things to watch.
I will. And my question to you is, like you said, it's way better than the first one, but you said it's 12 years apart. So I think when there's a huge gap like that, especially if it's early in your career, like, I mean, I don't know how early in Kevin Smith's career the first one was.
It was his first movie.
Exactly. So 12 years later, you know, he's probably done some things in the meantime.
Yeah.
Technology has come a long way. He's just like better off for the second one.
I can even explain. So the first one had a budget of only $25,000. It was in black and white because it was cheaper. The second one obviously expanded I think it had a $6 million budget. That's just off the top of my dome, so it's probably wrong. It had a massive budget compared to the first one, and so like they have multiple settings. It's in color. They got Rosario Dawson for the cast. There's some bigger things in the second one. I really like it, and one of the I think things that set it up so well to work as a sequel is basically up to that point, Kevin Smith he created the first ever like MCU. Basically, he had his own universe, the Viewisk universe. So like Clerks started that, and then Mallrats basically took place the day before Clerks did. Chasing Amy, which was also in the same universe, then Dogma, then Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and then Clerks 2 was the last one in that universe until he did Jay and Silent Bob Reboot a couple years ago.
So yeah, him basically closing the book would definitely make it a better movie than the first one.
Yeah,
it was the last chapter until reopening the book, like you said.
Exactly. It was basically a decade at that point of movies all in one universe that he was,
sure.
Because I think up to that point, the only movie he made that wasn't in the same universe was Jersey Girl with Ben Affleck.
They're pals.
They are pals. They stopped being pals for a while, and then they were pals again. So moving on from Clerks, because I've said everything I need to say, and I think I've convinced you to see this. Moving on to a movie that I actually watched yesterday, and it is Airplane 2, the sequel from 1982. And the first one was directed by David and Jerry Zucker and Jib Abrahams, the guy that we talked about earlier. And the Zucker brothers, they did like the Naked Gun movies. They're great. And Jerry Zucker actually directed Ghost for some reason. But the second one is directed by Ken Finkelman. Overall, I thought Airplane 2 was okay as a sequel. They changed enough that it's like, hey, there's some funny stuff in here. But at the same time, a lot of the jokes are just like, nah, I saw this in the first one. One interesting thing I did like is they changed the setting from being on an airplane to being on a space shuttle, and they're actually going to the moon. So that was pretty cool. I have such an interesting fact for you about this movie. I was so excited to tell you this.
And what is this?
Ken Finkelman, the director of this movie. So the reason he got the job for this is because he worked on a movie the same year that came out in 1982, and it's a movie that you and I both have not seen, and it's called Grease 2. So he was the writer of Grease 2, and Paramount, who made Grease 2 and also Airplane 2, they had a little situation on their hands, all right? They were like, hey, we made Grease 2. It didn't have much of the same cast members from the first Grease, didn't have the same director, people didn't really like it. What are we going to do? We got Airplane 2 coming. The Zucker guys, they don't want to do it. They go, oh, hey, Ken Finkelman, we got that guy. He wrote us Grease 2. He'll write us Airplane 2. So they hired him to write Airplane 2, and then they went, hey, you're going to direct this movie. And he was like, I've never directed. And they're like, that's fine, man. You're going to direct this. So Ken Finkelman was the writer of both Grease 2 and Airplane 2, and then he directed it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I read that and was just like, wow, that is amazing.
I mean, it just sounds like they were teaching him how to ride a bike, and then he's like, no, don't let go. And they're like, oh, we won't. And then they're just like, off you go. You're going to do great, kid. All right, this next movie is National Treasure 2.
Book of Secrets.
The full name of it. There it is. Ben Gates returns. Nicolas Cage.
Our boy.
Silver screen. Your boy. I'm not against it, but I never agreed to this.
It's canon. We've said it on the show. It's canon now.
All right, so tell me about this. It's been a while since I've seen it.
I saw this one in theaters, and I don't think I've seen it since then. I remember
that for every movie.
I think this one is not as good as the first one. I remember just not liking it as much because I just feel like the story wasn't as good. The first one I think is a phenomenal film. I think it's really enjoyable. This one just didn't have that rewatchability factor for me personally. I just don't like it as much. Justin Bartha. He's also Doug in the Hangover movies.
Right.
I feel like didn't get as much play in the sequel, and this is a spoiler, I guess, but the guy who's the main villain in the second one, at the end of the movie, they're in a room that's filling up with water, and they're all gonna drown. And that guy's like, Nick Cage, you got to get out of here and save the world or whatever is going on in this movie. So I'm gonna sacrifice myself to let you live. And then he stays behind to let them escape. And it's like, wait, he was literally shooting at you 5 minutes ago. Why is he doing this? So just overall, did not like that one as much.
Sure.
Which I think this is maybe the first sequel on the list so far that I have not really cared for personally.
Well, Grease 2.
Oh, we haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Now let's move on to Incredibles 2. This was a long-awaited movie from primarily adults. You know, we watched Incredibles when we were kids, and we really wanted that second one, and they took forever to come out with it. 2018. I don't know the gap.
2004. The Clerks movies had 12 years. This had 14 years. I love this movie. It's phenomenal and as good as the first one, if not better. And it's just great. This is a really, really good sequel, and both of them are really good. And I jokingly say all the time that The Incredibles are the only good Fantastic Four movies that have been made.
That's silly. So is Frozone Silver Surfer?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen The Incredibles too?
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
My favorite part, I assume everyone's favorite part, is Jack. The whole
Jack
scene
Jack's
with the
pretty good.
raccoon. That raccoon scene, wonderful.
Did you ever see Jack's Attack?
Yes.
I always loved that when he's with the babysitter and it's from her point of view of the movie. It's just a phenomenal short film.
I like when they do a little behind the scenes. I mean, like Lion King 1.5, essentially. You know, is behind the scenes the whole time.
Exactly.
That was great. Fun fact I like about The Incredibles is that Brad Bird voiced Edna.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. Which Edna's my favorite character in that. And I always thought it was have you ever seen NCIS New Orleans with Chris O'Donnell?
Exactly what you're getting at.
There's a lady in that show who reminds me of a real life Edna.
Yep. Edna Mode.
That's pretty good.
Thank you. All right, moving on is Iron Man. Oh, sorry. Sherlock Holmes Game of Shadows, 2011.
I have seen this one, and it is not as good as the first Sherlock Holmes movie. This one is kind of goofier and sillier, and the ending, they have a fight in their minds.
Now, how close to, because I have not seen these, so I'm picturing Tony Stark as Sherlock Holmes. You know, like
absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a completely different character. And his fighting style is completely different too, where like, you know, in the Avengers movies, you'll see Tony Stark do a little kung fu.
Yeah.
Just a little kung fu.
Yeah.
In these, he's a real brawly, punchy kind of guy.
Sure. I assume he brings them both together in Doolittle.
I saw Doolittle in theaters, and when I did, I was the only person in the theater. Moving on from Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows, we have another sequel to talk about.
Do we?
Yeah. Did you know that's the topic that we're covering today? Sequels?
I just thought this was a coincidence.
Oh, okay. Well, I got one for you. And you better hold on to your britches because they're coming off. This is Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues from 2013, directed by Adam McKay. Ron Burgundy's back.
He's kind of a big deal.
He is kind of a big deal. This one also had a significant gap. I believe 10 years or 9 years, because I think the first was 2004.
Really?
I believe so.
I thought it was pretty good.
I also like this movie. I know a lot of people don't, but I think it's pretty good.
We both keep saying pretty good, which I agree is a good word to put there, because
I'd give it 4 stars out of 5. It's
exactly
when I say pretty good.
Yeah, it's not this. I mean, again, it's par for a sequel, essentially. Like,
yeah, I think it's better than most.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one thing about it I didn't like, is it's a little too long. It's like 2.5 hours long. But I do really enjoy the one scene where they are spinning through the air in the RV and they're all just like slow motion, just their coffee's upside down or whatever.
Yeah.
They redo a lot of the jokes from the first one, like the fight in the parking lot or whatever, but they're pretty good. Pretty good.
I mean, especially that fight, like, because then they amplify it. Like, yes. I think the first one was what, 5 or 6 news teams?
Yeah.
This one, there was,
I believe 4.
Yeah, 4, and then this one there was like 8 or something. And I swear, like, all the people they bring in for those fight scenes, just awesome. Great cameos.
Yeah. Will Smith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would have known?
Luke Wilson, Vince Vaughn. Well, Vince Vaughn's the OG from those fight scenes.
I like Anchorman. They're good movies. I hope they never do a third, though. And I don't think they will, because Adam McKay and Will Ferrell aren't friends anymore.
That's a little sad, but that's all right. Next movie is Frozen 2, 2019. I personally like this one more than the original.
Really?
Yes, and I like both a lot. But yeah, I personally, I think the story, from my own opinion, the story is just better. I really like just the whole direction, everything for the most part.
Wow. I think they are both 5-star movies, But if the first one was 100% for me, this would be like a 99. And only because I don't like the soundtrack as much as the first one. Like the first movie has Let It Go, Do You Want to Build a Snowman, and my personal favorite, What Happens to Snow in Summer.
Sure. Well, and I don't mean like if the first one is 100, the second one's 150. I'm same thing but reverse. If the first one's 99, second one's 100.
Yeah. No, I know what you meant.
It's right there, but I like it just a little better.
I think they're both great movies. That first one, that's a special movie. I think this one also had a significant gap between it. I'm pretty sure the first was 2012 and this was 2018, so it's what, 6 years?
Yeah, so this one came out in 2019, and I was gonna guess the first one was 2011. So
I think maybe it was 2012 or 2013.
Sure. So yeah, a decent gap, especially for kids. But I mean, they didn't need the second one. The kids were demanding the song still, and they were having a good old time watching that first one on repeat. So,
and something about like a long gap, like if you look at like the Toy Story movies or like Incredibles,
animation's not what it used to be. So like even now, like when Toy Story 5 comes out, I assume it will. It's nothing like the first one.
Oh, no.
Close to nothing like the second one. And to be honest, Toy Story 1 and 2, I know we're talking about Toy Story now. Those are OG. I really like Toy Story 1 and 2.
Toy Story 2 is my favorite of the.
I haven't even seen 4. I love Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2 is the best.
We're talking about 2.
Toy Story 3 is a little weird. It gets really dark. 4.
Yeah, with that teddy bear dude.
Dude, 4 is incredible. You should really check that one out.
Yeah, no, Keanu Reeves, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so good. It must be hard doing direction for an animated movie. I don't understand what.
I assume you just are really knowledgeable of computers, like
and animation, and I know you have to like set the scene where you're like, so I wanted to show the background of the castle, and then it swoops down like this, and like you have to know that stuff, but it's just not like directing live action. Like I just
Well, think about it.
I've never worked with animation, so I have no comprehension of it.
The way I look at it and or assume is in the director's eyes, in their head, they can envision it.
Yeah.
Either animated or not. You know, you're envisioning, like you said, a castle and blah blah blah. In real life, you have to make sure it's not raining and tell that actor, we're gonna do that take again. In animation, you can just be like, make that color a little lighter. And I feel like, I'm not saying it's easier, but it might be
definitely not easier.
No, I never said that. I'm just saying it might be a little easier to get what you want, because in real life you can't make somebody fly. In a cartoon you can. So animation might be a little easier to get the end result you're looking for. So I feel like as a director for an animation, you might be happier at the end, as long as it goes the way you want it to, getting there, obviously. Watching some older stuff, like animation was literally only drawings back in the day. Like now.
Yeah, now it's all digital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just watching Cinderella. I believe that's 1932. I don't remember. 40 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
1930 something.
I was literally sitting there just watching, and it's like fluent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, that's 1,000 pages right there. That's 1,000 drawings right there. That's 1,000 drawings. It's just like crazy that they literally drew the slightest change 1,000 times to make them walk across the room. Like, oh
I know.
God.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And now you can just digitize it all.
Hand cramps.
Too many Mickey Mouses.
Too many Mickey ears. Oh, that ear looks a little smaller than the other ear. All right, next one. There was a gap here too. Independence Day, Resurgence, 2016. Yes. Will Smith.
It was 20 years. And I saw this one in theaters, and I have a story to tell you.
Did you see the first one in theaters and you're like,
no,
4?
I did not.
Okay.
I was born in 95, so I was a 1-year-old. The director is Roland Emmerich. I've seen almost every movie he's ever directed. He is one of those directors that he does disaster movies, and almost all of them are critically bad. But he makes a lot of money doing it, so good for him. A lot of people like his movies. My dad, big fan of the guy. Loves this stuff. I like Independence Day, all right?
Yeah.
I don't think Independence Day is a great movie, but I like it. So I like the first one. And we had tickets to the premiere of the second one. They were doing a double feature showing where you could watch the first one, there was an intermission, and then you saw the second one. We bought tickets. We each spent $60 per person.
Oof.
It was a lot. We watched the first one. We're like, good job. This was fun. We go back in for that second one. 10 minutes in, I was like, holy shit. this is really bad. Oh my God. And like the rest of the movie, I was just sitting there checking my phone, just like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. It's a terrible, terrible movie. And it is the one movie that I have officially banned from ever owning in my collection.
It's that bad.
I hated it. I had such a terrible experience seeing it in the movie theater that I'm like, I will never own that movie.
I know what you're getting for Christmas.
Will Smith isn't even in it. You know what's funny about that too is he turned this one down so he could go shoot Suicide Squad, which is also a bad movie. So
and he's got a small role in it, doesn't he?
No, he's one of the main cast members. He plays Deadshot. He's second billed in that movie, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he gets a scene in that movie too with Ben Affleck's Batman. So him and Harley Quinn are definitely the main characters of that movie.
Okay.
That movie's not dumb or not great, but moving on to a good movie though. And this I think is a movie that is in some ways better than the first. And that's It Chapter 2 from Andy Muschietti.
I've not seen it. I've seen the first one and I liked it.
The 2017 one or the 90s one?
2017 one.
I think I borrowed you that and was like, hey, you need to watch this.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies of all time, the first one. And I think this is a perfect sequel. It's very, very long. I think it's close to 3 hours, but it is so spectacular. A thing I really like about this movie is Bill Hader. He gives the best performance I've ever seen in this movie. Like
his or in general?
Like top 10 all-time performances for me.
Oh, wow.
Like he's as good as Val Kilmer in Tombstone.
I thought you were going to say Batman.
No. Val Kilmer in Tombstone is the greatest acting performance I've ever seen in a movie. And Bill Hader in this was up near that. I was like, damn, Bill Hader's such a good actor. Like, he's phenomenal. And Barry season 3 is dropping out right now. God, that show's great. You ever watch that?
No.
Do you have HBO Max?
Yes.
You should watch Barry. That's phenomenal.
All right, and our last movie is from 2019, Dr. Sleep. Can you tell us what that's a sequel to?
Yeah, The Shining from Stanley Kubrick.
30-year gap, is that correct?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. The director of the first one was Stanley Kubrick. I think you just said that. And then now the second one is Mike Flanagan.
I do not know Mike Flanagan.
Neither do I.
At least by name.
Is there any notable cast members in this?
Yeah, Ewan McGregor is the main character.
Okay.
I cannot remember his character's name, but I think it's maybe Jack. So this is a very, very good film. I watched The Shining and was like, wow, this was a great movie. And then so I got really pumped for Dr. Sleep, and I ended up really, really liking it. I think it's just a really good follow-up.
I really enjoyed The Shining, but I just don't know if I'll watch this, to be honest.
It's good.
All right, so I think this wraps up the 16 movies that we're talking about today, all sequels.
That was every sequel. That was every sequel that's ever been made. Can you believe it?
I do not believe it. And that is a false fact.
No, if it's not on the list, it doesn't exist. Since we just finished covering sequels as the main topic of this episode, I figured we could make our own sequel to our hit segment,
Wheel of Verses. This is the part of the podcast where we both selected 5 characters from the movies we just spoke about, and they are going to battle each other. Best of 5, new champion. I am the current champion from the last episode.
You are.
It's feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about this one.
You're world heavyweight champion.
That's right.
All right. Who do you got?
I have Sherlock Holmes. Charlie Baker. He's the eldest son in Cheaper by the Dozen 2, played by Tom Welling.
I was going to say, is that Tom Welling?
Okay. Yes, it is. I got Jay from Clerks 2. Ben Gates, which is ya boy.
Our boy.
Did you say R?
Our boy.
You just throwing that out there?
Yeah.
National Treasure 2. And Brick Tamland. He likes to put mayo in the toaster.
He does like to put mayo in a toaster.
Who do you got on your list?
I got Elsa from Frozen 2. I got Simba from The Lion King 2. I have Silent Bob from Clerks 2. David Levinson, that's Jeff Goldblum's character from Independence Day Resurgence. And then I have the ghost of Stonewall Jackson.
I really hope Silent Bob and Jay battle.
I really do too.
Yeah. All right, let's see.
And I'm spinning.
I have Ben Gates.
I got the ghost of Stonewall Jackson.
All right, so I feel like Ben Gates immediately, he's a good detective, essentially.
Yeah.
He immediately wants to find out why you're a ghost. And he's going to figure out what happened.
Stonewall Jackson was a Confederate captain or something. He works.
Yeah,
he was in the Confederate Army, so I mean, he died in battle probably.
But he's gonna follow some clues.
He would like that because it's a history project.
Exactly. He'll be like, "Ooh, here's a musket.
Was there a treasure? Did you have a treasure?"
So this is a fun one. Who would win this?
I guess. I think Ben Gates can take it because he can solve it. He has to go to this. The Ghost of Stonewall Jackson's like, listen, you have to go here and get my old guitar that I left out by the barn. And he's like, all right, I can do that. And he's like, my soul can rest now.
I'm just gonna mark one down for me and call that good.
There you go. I have spun. I got David Levinson, which again is just Jeff Goldblum in the Independence Day movies.
And I got Sherlock Holmes.
Well, right off the bat, you definitely win this one again, because Sherlock Holmes can actually fight and do brawls and stuff, and I just have Jeff Goldblum.
I'm also a very good detective, again.
Yeah, which Jeff Goldblum doesn't even do much in this movie, from what I can remember.
No, he just likes to, wear glasses, like look at a computer screen.
Yeah.
Look up all like, oh my gosh, this is serious. Aliens.
Because in the first movie, he actually goes to space with Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And in the second one, he doesn't do a whole lot. So you definitely win this one. Well, and my character is a lot like Howard the Duck. I didn't think he was actually going to win.
Did you think the Ghost of Stonewall Jackson was going to win?
You know what? That was just an oddball choice. He's a ghost after all.
Are you trying to lose this one?
No. I just thought it was an outside bet. What can a ghost do? All right, I spun again. Have you spun yet?
It is currently spinning.
Okay. I got Simba.
I have Jay. He'd be like, come here, little kitty. Want this joint?
That's true. He could. And he would get mauled, I think.
Well, I don't know, because Simba's not a masterful mauler, so to speak.
That's true. And you know what?
He's kind of timid, honestly. He cowards a lot.
But now you got to think, this is Simba from The Lion King 2.
Oh man, he's new Mufasa. He's
he's a king already.
Big cat.
So he might be like,
Jay's done. I'm so sorry. I was stuck on. The majority of the first one, he was a teenager.
But now here's a good.
I'm thinking baby point. Simba. Okay.
Who are Simba's best friends? Timon and Pumbaa.
Yes.
He likes to hang out with them, eat a bunch of munchies, right?
Jay's gonna be like, man, I'm like Timon.
Yeah.
And try to calm him down.
He's like, yo, man, I can eat bugs with you.
So we'll just call it a draw.
I think Simba, if it was a fight, Simba would easily win.
Yeah, we're fighting here. Come on. Okay, you get one. I got Brick Tamland.
And I got Silent Bob.
I think Silent Bob would win.
Silent Bob is usually the mastermind behind the plan, or he's like the muscle of the team.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do much in Clerks 2, though. They don't really. They don't have a fight scene or anything.
Okay, on the flip side with Brick, in the first one,
Brick's killed a guy.
Tridents.
He killed a guy.
He has, but does he in the second one? In the next fight scene?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Just a little.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't murder anybody in that one.
He's all out of grenades.
Yeah, and tridents.
So I guess Brick?
I think this would be a toss-up. I genuinely don't know. Because I don't think Silent Bob's not out to kill.
No.
But Brick...
Neither is... Well,
Brick would.
Well, but that's the thing. He would if Silent Bob was trying to as well. Because the battle, they were out for blood. They were pulling out every weapon.
It's true.
So if Bob would motion to him, not say anything to him. He'd just motion hey, we're chill. He'd be like, okay, want some mayonnaise? They'd just be friends.
It's true. But Silent Bob wouldn't talk. So maybe Brick would
motion to him. He'd be like,
maybe Brick would get a little anxious and be like, I need to stab this guy in the heart with a trident.
He'd probably yell, why aren't we yelling?
Do you want to be invited to the pants party? The party of the pants?
And then he just wouldn't respond and he'd get real upset with him. And then trident time.
I'll give it to Brick. So you can hold on to your belt for another week.
I will. And then lastly, I have Charlie Baker, which I believe he was a football star in the first movie.
I think so too.
So now I think he's out of high school.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, from if my memory serves me correct, I think he's given up on football, and the whole plot of the second one is him being like, "Hey, Dad, I don't want to play football."
Yeah, so he's a quitter. And Elsa can freeze
I have
anyone.
ice powers.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you.
Thank you.
Out the gate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll freeze your ass on the football field.
So that was a great last little battle for you, but I won the war.
You definitely did. I shouldn't have picked Jeff Goldblum.
Well, you had Jeff Goldblum for a while.
I did.
Chose a ghost of Stonewall Jackson, like last minute. That was a last minute pick. I'm just like, okay.
He was an outside bet, man. He's a ghost. He could spook someone.
He could. He would have spooked Brick. Like, I feel like if that was a matchup,
Oh yeah,
he would have won. Yeah,
I definitely would have won that one.
He might have even beat Jay, honestly.
Maybe.
All right, I think that wraps it up this time.
Wheel of Versus. I think this was more fun than the first because it's not just superheroes, and it was, hey, these are two guys just from a movie.
I think it was okay.
I liked it.
Let's make the next one even more epic.
I think we can. I think we can. You can do it. All right, so that was a fun Wheel of Verses, and I just want to let everyone know as a reminder to message us at ourdadsourbrothers@gmail.com with any concerns, topic ideas, or anything you may want. And if we like it, we'll read you out on the podcast. If you want, you can subscribe to Punk Rock Blues on YouTube. That's my channel. Go follow me. Otherwise, I'm at BatTracy01 or Bat Loves Movies on TikTok.
All right, and next episode on the podcast, what are we talking about?
Next episode, like Metallica, we're going to enter the Sandman because we are covering Adam Sandler.
From his movie debut in 89 to the end of 99. 10 years of the funny man.
The Sandman.
Until next time, I'm Nathan Tracy.
And I'm Bat Tracy. And our dads are brothers.
That they are.
I think this was better than the first. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a nice sequel. We should do it again sometime.
Yeah, maybe a podcast?
Weekly?
Yeah, good idea.
Cool.
Sweet.